Today is Thursday, October 10th, 2020 at 4 o'clock. We will, of course, review Bitcoin, look at the news, and also examine the macroeconomic calendar as well as the altcoins. Alright, let's get comfortable and start this video. But first I want to remind you that this crypto map has turned red again because, of course, Bitcoin has also dropped. And as soon as Bitcoin drops, the entire crypto market follows Bitcoin. Alright, let's start with the macroeconomic calendar. Today, on October 10th, we will have the core CPI for September, the annual CPI for September, the monthly CPI for September, as well as the weekly jobless claims. So of course you know that these are important indicators regarding inflation. And we will conclude tomorrow with the monthly producer price index for September. So it is important to monitor, as each of these indices can have an impact on the financial markets and consequently on Bitcoin. Come on, let's look at the news. So we have crypto news that is pushing us with information about a leak from an HBO documentary. So the famous documentary, which is supposed to supposedly tell us who the famous Satoshi Nakamoto is, suggests that Peter Todd could be the next, who could be, Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin. However, he himself denied it on his own Twitter profile. He says it himself, "I am not." Satoshi denied Peter Todd on X, admitting that this situation could become even more intense. So, there is quite a bit of buzz surrounding this documentary. In fact, whether we know the creator of Bitcoin or not, we really don't care. I mean, it would change the fact that it's good, but there's definitely a lot of buzz around it. So indeed, they are playing it quite well. On the crypto side, we still have Canary Capital, which is filing the Form S, the famous form to request the ETF. And so here it is, the ETF regarding XRP, which is a request for an XRP ETF with the SEC. So that's very interesting. We'll see what comes of it. We'll see if it is indeed approved or not. Van Eyck is launching a $30 million fund, and they say that we are determined, 2001, to support the founders of the most innovative fintech companies that we believe will shape the future of finance. Very interesting, all of this. The crypto side has always been relaxed. As part of a market manipulation investigation, the FBI has sought the services of market makers by launching its own crypto token called Next Fund AI. So the goal here is to trap these service providers in order to charge them. This is also very interesting. We'll see what comes of it. Let's start the technical analysis of Bitcoin. But before that, I want to remind everyone that everything I will say in this video is in no way financial advice. It is up to you to do your own research. And remember that trading cryptocurrency carries risks of partial or major losses. So what about our Bitcoin? Well, unfortunately, yesterday we broke a key level, which isn't very pretty. To be honest, yesterday we went to look for the last low point. So we went to look for the 6076010 Sept, which I remind you is our pivot point. Unfortunately, as we can see, this key level has been broken from below. So the advantage is that, yes, it was pushed down, that's true, but we didn't have a huge break. That is to say, we didn't drop by 30 or 20. Yes, but I mean, we didn't make a candle with much lower volume, we closed just below. So do we have a validated close? Yes, it's true, since we closed below now. Is this close dangerous? In any case, for the moment it doesn't seem that way because it's just a very small closing. So, not really. No, need to raise an alarm about it on every rooftop. But 2021. It should just be noted that this is not necessarily a good sign either, because we will still keep in mind that we had this break below the pivot point of 6076010 Septi. But in the end, if we look closely, we simply went to find our last low point at 6,610. And so, indeed, this key level is the last low point. If we break this key level, then yes, it is true that this could trigger something quite bearish. So, be careful not to get trapped here, because given that we had a break today, we are currently doing the pullback. This is what happens every time. As soon as we break a key level, we almost systematically come back to test it. So indeed, we have broken the 6076010 Sept. So what is happening? We are coming back to retest this key level. So today we really absolutely want to close above this key level. Why? As would allow to exit this dangerous zone and remain within the range. And why not validate this double bottom pattern that would allow us to regain strength afterwards? On the other hand, a close below would confirm the breakout with a pullback that validates the close below, breakout, crash pullback, we come back to retest, and we are unable to get back above. What would that mean? it would mean that unfortunately Bitcoin might want to seek even lower points. Among these lower points, I actually have a lot of support levels to look for afterwards. So I have the 60,000, the 50,9404 and the 58,930. And here for me, we will have a significant support zone to retest in case of a drop to 50,8204, 2013. Now, what needs to be noted is whether this drop we might experience would be dangerous and break the entire cycle. Not at all. But not at all. Let's not be naive. Not at all. And it is completely normal for Bitcoin to make this kind of movement. And it is also important to understand that when we are in a bull run, we will also experience drops of 5 or 10, maybe during the bull run. This is completely normal. And for now, the bullish trend, as we can see, is still in the process of being validated. Finally, that is to say, we are saying, sorry, we still have higher highs, increasingly higher, even if here we are starting to mark key levels that are a little bit dangerous. So already indeed, we know that 606.0760 on September 10th is a pivot point that could break the bullish trend in the coming days, especially if we break here. So the top of the range launch, as I mentioned, the next key level is at 58,204 on September 10th. Indeed, if we were to break this key level, it would end the short-term bullish trend. Medium term, rather the one we have been following since. So, on August 5th, 2024, that could put an end to it. But from a very long-term perspective, would that break something? No, of course not. We must not forget this at all. In the long term, we are still in a large descending channel on our Bitcoin. So, it's normal that as long as we are in this channel, unfortunately, we have this type of movement. And there, on the other hand, as long as this channel is not broken to the upside, we won't have a pump. We won't have a truly bullish situation. It's important to understand that, on the other hand, a breakout of this channel to the upside would validate a very nice bull flag, with the incoming movement as well, then the retracement. So generally we know that it tends to want to break out to the upside. That's why we don't know when it will really break out to the upside. It can happen in the next 2 weeks or in the next 2 months. Right now, all we know is that we are in a bullish setup. Wait for this movement to be validated. No crystal ball. I don't know if it will be validated or not. Tomorrow, there might be a world war that will be triggered. And well, at that point, yes, the weekend will crash and break everything. But for now, that's not the case. So indeed, we just have to keep an eye on all of this and be patient. Now let's take a look at a slightly shorter term view. And indeed, we can see that in the 4-hour view, it's not looking very good. As you can see in the 4-hour view, we have broken the 200 period moving average. So it served as support from here. Nevertheless, it should be noted that since October 5th, October 4th, 2020, we used it as support. You see, we touched this line and then boom, we came back to touch it again. Unfortunately, that's it yesterday. We broke it on the 4-hour view, which is why it triggered a downward movement. By the way, look at this impressive candle. It dropped and went directly to check this here, the support at exactly 607.60, $10.7. So it really means that this is a key level, since we were touched in an ultra-surgical manner. Moreover, it was the same here as well. And here too, we had 2 nice closes above it. So it is truly a beautiful key level that is really surgical. So now, we just have to be patient. Now we will see if we can still regain strength. In any case, that's what we want. Let's not forget, we still have this double bottom that could propel us upward. Sorry, but for now it's not yet validated, so let's be extremely cautious. To summarize, we absolutely need to stay above 60760 by September 10th. That is the #1 criterion for getting through this. If we don't do that already, clearly, yes, there will be a way to revisit lower points, but for now, that's not the case. So this is our first criterion. Stay above 60760 as the second criterion. Here, we broke, as I told you, the 200 period moving average, so we breached the key level of 613.45. So indeed, there is a possibility that we will pull back from this key level, since we broke it. So that would be the second criterion for regaining strength. If we don't do that either, there's no point in hoping for anything. Criterion number 3. We had broken here, do you see it? That purple box over there. We had broken it from the bottom here. So criterion number 3 would be to come back and test this bottom of the range at a minimum here at 62,628 and to re-enter from the top. So these are the 3 next criteria. To actually want to regain strength on the Bitcoin side. And why not try to validate this double bottom pattern? Without these three criteria being met, unfortunately, Bitcoin could therefore reach the key support levels that I mentioned earlier. So let's be extremely cautious nonetheless. On the Bitcoin side, in the medium term, we are in a very mixed configuration. Even though there are no concerns in the long term, we are bullish, but in the medium term, it's a bit more complicated, so we'll see. We need to validate all of this. I always remind that Bitcoin could be forming a gigantic cup with a handle here. If we manage to break through 60, 5007s and 871, we could form a gigantic cup and handle and propel ourselves to much higher points. This could indeed trigger a bull run. We're not there yet once again. So let's be extremely patient indeed. Come on, let's take a look at our drinks. So, which one are we going to start with? Well, let's start with GRT. It's been a little while since I talked about it. So on the side of the cryptocurrency GRT, what's quite nice is that we might be forming a very nice rebound on the launching range. Remember here, let me explain the context a bit more. We had formed a consolidation box here, which is what we call a range, and this range was broken to the upside. By the way, here we find a very nice double bottom. Breakout of the range to the upside is a buy signal. And what happens after a breakout? I wanted to explain earlier that after a breakout, we systematically have a retest of the key level. So we broke the resistance at 0.1507, sorry, 0.15054, and then we had an explosion. By the way, we caught it on my YouTube channel. Then boom, what happens? The retracement to make the pullback. We're coming back. Look at this. We're retesting the key level that we broke through, and we're bouncing off it, creating a first bottom here. Maybe we could form a half bottom like this. Whatever happens, it is absolutely necessary to break the 0.164506 level here to regain strength. And why not aim for higher points? And therefore return to look for this pivot point that will be located here at 0.10907, which could trigger a huge movement. So we are not there yet, but it could start from this very small double bottom that is here. We will obviously keep an eye on all of this in the coming days. On the Solana side, we are struggling. Unfortunately, we have not managed to maintain the support resistance zone, from 143. So this resistance, well, this support zone is turning into resistance. Are we still in a catastrophic situation? No, because here too we see, similar to Bitcoin, the double bottom. So for now, it is not validated. Of course, to validate this, we will need to break the 140.8 zone. So for now, it's not yet a done deal. But as long as we are above $135 on Solana, there are currently no particular concerns. However, it is essential to protect this key level. Do you understand? Yes. If we lose 135, then yes, we could unfortunately be looking for the bottom of the range at 126. And why not try its breakdown to the downside, which would unfortunately not be a good sign, but for now, it's still okay. We might be forming this type of pattern that would allow us to bounce back. Of course, once again, I remind you, everything depends on the boss. Everything depends on Bitcoin. It is the one that drives the market. I can only wish you an excellent day. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share as much as possible. And I'll see you later for the next one.